You're watching India Ascents. I'm Gaurie Dwivedi. This is your weekly dose of all that matters to the global Indian and to India's ascent. Let's get you the big headlines we're tracking for you. Warm and engaging phone call between Prime Minister Modi and US President Donald Trump as the two nations hammer out a potential trade deal that's been in the works for months now. Donald Trump's administration green-lights $680 million of military aid to Pakistan. Its aging F-16 fleet get an upgrade. Trump's Munir love continues. Dead economy, anyone? Well, big tech commits massive investments into India after Google's $15 billion investment. Microsoft announces $17.5 billion, its largest investment in Asia. Comes after announcements by Intel, Cognizant and Amazon. The United States has suggested creating a free economic zone in parts of eastern Donbass. This is part of the larger peace formula that is being negotiated between all parties. And Bangladesh announces a potential return to democracy, announces its much-delayed national elections in February 2026. Will the polls be free and fair? We ask. Our big story this week, viewers, it has two aspects. Donald Trump, Prime Minister Modi, spoke in their third phone call since India was targeted with high tariffs for importing Russian oil, even though India is not the largest, not the only country. But this happens at a time when Trump has green-lighted more military aid to Pakistan. Now let's make one thing very clear. India's ties with US are far more nuanced, multidimensional and consequential, and most certainly not limited to Pakistan. But how Trump treats Munir is important, since this is a year when India and Pakistan also had a massive military face-off for the first time since Kargil. Now, as things stand, Modi and Trump spoke on closing a trade deal after Washington said that they received the best offer from India till now. There is an expectation that a trade deal may be closed by early next year. And that would put the focus on some of the other aspects of this relationship which have been sort of put on the back burner till now. Security, geopolitical, all factors that are important but have been on the back burner. That includes a Quad summit as well that has been delayed and would probably be back on the table the moment the trade pact is finalized. And most importantly, the Trump-Modi call comes just a week after President Putin was in India. His first foreign visit since he met Trump's trusted envoys, that is Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, to look at an end to war in Ukraine. It didn't happen. There was no agreement after 5 long hours. India is the only country with direct lines of communication with both sides, which you need to have to end any conflict. And that makes India extremely vital to any peace process. Now, how does this all add up? From trade to Trump's Munir love to the larger equation where India is now an extremely important aspect is what the larger India-US equation is now all about. And let's get in a voice from DC to talk more about this. Alison Federica, who's Director of Analysis at Geopolitical Futures, joins me to talk more about how the call is so important right now and the larger takeaway. Alison, we in New Delhi feel that this call is extremely important. It really sets the pace for the talks. How is DC viewing this?
It is not an uncoincidental timing in terms of both the U.S. trade talks with India and also because it comes on the heels of Putin visiting India as well. Of course, the U.S. is going to say that it was a positive conversation that is going to be part of their negotiating strategy with the trade talks that are ongoing. And also politically, they're not going to admit in the case of India if things aren't going well.
Specifically, if one were to talk about trade talks, there has been some progress, but it's been almost incremental. How do you see that?
So as you point out, there are quite a few differences between the U.S. government and India. And what I think that DC might be starting to realize now is that I think they have underestimated the hand that India has to play in their relationship with the United States. I think India is in a better negotiating position than DC originally thought when going into these trade talks with them. They have many different options. New Delhi has different options in terms of Russian partners, Southern cooperation partners. They're not as dependent on the United States as I think Washington would like to think. And they have enough clout and power in their own right and size that when it comes to negotiating with the US, they're one of the few countries that can really engage the US and make demands as well as Washington, as opposed to simply having to go along with whatever DC asks because they're dependent on the US relationship.
That's a very important point you're making. Does that also mean that some of these sticky issues will be resolved now quickly after DC's realization about New Delhi's options?
I think that they can be resolved on a superficial level with an agreement that is quote unquote good enough. There are some fundamental points where Indian national interests and US national interests are going to clash. And neither country is in a position where they are going to want to give in or compromise that national interest. I'm thinking primarily in the area of tech, in terms of AI development, tech advancement, tech innovation. These are areas where the US wants to become the leading dominant world player. That's reflected in the national security strategy that just came out. But India is also a leader in this field in its own right, and also has its own ambitions to be one of the dominating forces and leaders in that tech AI innovation field. So neither one is going to want to bend on that. It is in both of their national interests to kind of pursue that independently. So with things where they don't necessarily have competing interests, they can cooperate perhaps on good energy deals or some sort of technology share with mining or critical minerals. But when it comes to key priorities for the future, those sticking points are going to remain. And so what we're going to likely see is something that is progress on the points that they can get along with and good enough, or working past the sticking points to the point that they don't have to necessarily come to resolution now, but they also will not be removing the long-term conflict that will likely remain.
Which brings me to ask the final question around, Alison, the kind of progress that the governments are making, the two sides are making. What about the larger India-US relationship? There are voices in Congress who feel that it isn't achieving any of its potential. And something as recent as the last couple of days, those voices, and all of them are, of course, Republican-leaning voices that are saying that.
The government-to-government talks are just one part of the picture. I think especially in the United States, private business is also a major player when it comes to how the U.S. government engages with different countries, especially in the case of India. As we've seen, the H-1B visas and the extension for having to get through the interview process is really putting a lot of people on that visa in a compromising situation and their jobs at risk. And that innately involves private companies in the United States. And how are they going to react? Are they going to save the jobs? Are they going to pay the extra fees, the higher price, I should say, for the H-1B visa? Are they going to get rid of the jobs? So there's going to be, especially in the U.S. and also to an extent in India, the private sector has a voice in these talks in terms of their own interests and what are they going to have to give up, or how is this going to affect their bottom line? And so the governments will be receiving that pressure internally from their own constituents and their own private companies, which will eventually be reflected in the government-to-government talks. But there's still a lot to hash out in the private sector that needs to be done before the government and government talks can fully be conclusive in terms of an agreement.
All right. Thanks much, Alison, for joining us. And on the issue of H-1B and immigration, I'm going to come to that in just a bit. Turning attention now to Trump. In fact, viewers, Trump's Munir love continues. A week after Munir stamped himself into the history books in Pakistan by bringing about a coup constitutionally, Donald Trump and his administration have approved a $680 million upgrade for Pakistan and its F-16 fleet. A move that comes at a time of huge political instability in the country. There is a dire economic situation. The move has been in the pipeline since 2021. but was kept in limbo as the Pakistan-China nexus has rattled many in the power corridors in Washington. They realize what that nexus adds up for America's interests. But it also means one thing, viewers, that geopolitical considerations, security concerns, challenges that a maverick nuclear power headed by a super powerful military chief, all of that have limited impact in this administration. What matters is the following: repeated praise for the president himself, nominating the president for Nobel Peace Prize, hiring former business associates close to the president as lobbyists in Washington, D.C., promises to provide rare mineral earth deposits to American enterprises, and investments in crypto deals with those that are close to the first family in America and their businesses. This is all that matters. It's also a reminder of how things work now. Donald Trump has met the Pakistani leadership 5 times this year, a country that is the fountainhead of terrorism, where Osama bin Laden was given state patronage, poses big threats to the world. Where does this leave India, viewers? Well, we need to prepare for the eventuality that Pakistanis may get F-16's upgraded versions near the 5th gen capabilities and superior missiles as well. We need to prepare ourselves for that eventuality, both surface to air and air to air, which may have the ability to target India without entering our airspace. And also prepare for the eventuality that Asim Munir will double down on this as the political crisis in his country worsens. And that is likely to happen in the next couple of months itself. All right, on that note, a quick break. We return with more on the other side. Stay with us.
Pulling us
other
into
opposition
this country.
parties. They argue, I conclude. They deflect, I drill down. This isn't a free-for-all. It's a reckoning. No filler, no fog. Only the facts and where they lead. Every night at 9, the case closes because the buck stops here.
They ruled the world. Won 1 billion hearts. Now, meet the champions who made the nation proud. The Indian women's cricket team at the NDTV Indian of the Year. The front lines of Kargil. The fury of Operation Sindhu.
So many attacks.
The chaos and cries of disaster zones. To fighter jet cockpits. And the world's most defining interviews.
It's incredible.
He has seen history break. Live, unfiltered. 20,000 hours of live broadcasting.
Welcome to Left, Right and Centre.
Hard facts.
War-struck country.
Hard questions.
In the Ukraine.
30 years of trust.
In the Kargil area.
North Ukraine. In France. In Italy. At Srinagar. Vishnu Shom for NDTV.
Vishnu Shom. Only on NDTV.
21 days in Kashmir. People have bombarded me, friends, with requests for an unfiltered list of things I saw and observed on the ground. Very special ground report from the line of control. There were some children who've lost limbs in the shelling. They're now India's smallest, but possibly the most powerful crime family. Cough syrup has killed at least 25 children. Gaikwad sahab, aise mat kijiye. Suddenly people are wondering about the weaponization of India-Pakistan cricket. We live and breathe elections. You will not believe your eyes or ears when I show you what I'm about to do. And for a country that has fought so many wars in the mountains and at high altitude, we're standing on the Indian Navy's newest warship. The line of control, Shiv Arun, NDTV.
What does Sufism mean to you?
Sufism is about love. Higher ideals are more fascinating than normal love song or anything. Talk about Khwaja Mere Khwaja, Kun Faya Kun. It's all about higher ideals.
I'm bringing the same spirit to Delhi. So book your tickets from District app. See you, Delhi.
Across the country.
He has tracked the pulse of power from Washington to Korea. witnessed history being made in global capitals and conflict zones, brought clarity to complex issues of national security and international affairs. Aditya Raj Call, covering international affairs like no one else, only on NDTV network.
What seems settled for me is unfinished business. So I rewind. I pause. I reflect. I dig until what's buried stands up to be counted. Breaking ground, not just headlines, the meaning behind them. This is Breaking Ground with me, Vedika Sood.
I just feel very privileged in the film industry, an industry that I'm extremely proud of.
I'm honored to receive this prestigious award.
I feel overwhelmed that the NDTV has chosen me for this very special award.
Thank you so very much. This means a lot to me.
It's a great honor and a great privilege.
Really blessed to get this, and I'm really happy.
This is one of the few moments I'm going to be humble, so please record this properly, guys.
आज का दिन सबसे पहले जो फुट सोल्डर्स जो प्रिजाइडिंग ऑफिसर्स जो टीम है उनको सेलिब्रेट करने का है.
And the NDTV Indian of the Year Award 2025 goes to
NDTV Indian of the Year 2025, 19 December, New Delhi. Ideas, inspiration, impact.
Namaste, India. As you all know,
Is America still the land of opportunity, or has it become a country that picks and chooses who belongs? What began as a targeted crackdown on who Donald Trump called illegal aliens is now evolving into a sweeping ban that critics say could redefine who belongs in America across the globe. Governments, businesses and families are grappling with uncertainty. Policies are shifting from being about law and order to shutting down the door on millions. This report tells you that it's no more just about H-1Bs or student visas. It's far more than that. Take a look.
Is anyone welcome in America anymore? With just weeks to go in 2025, the Trump administration is already preparing to escalate its anti-immigration agenda in 2026, sending a clear message to the world. Entering the United States may be harder than ever. From increased online vetting, imposing travel bans, and revoking visas to purchasing dedicated deportation jets, the Trump administration is going all out to keep those it deems fit out of America. The crackdown is sweeping. The US has reportedly revoked 85,000 visas across multiple categories this year alone. Moreover, starting December 15th, the US will expand social media vetting for all H-1B skilled worker applicants and their H-4 dependents, adding digital security to the already rigorous visa vetting process. Not just that, the Department of Homeland Security has also purchased at least 6 Boeing 737 jets worth nearly $140 million for dedicated deportation flights, a move critics say signals a sharp expansion of deportation. And the crackdown isn't just about deportations. President Trump has launched an attack on birthright citizenship, claiming it was originally intended for the children of slaves, not for rich immigrants seeking to make their entire family US citizens. Officials warn that visas will be denied to those that they suspect plan to give birth in the United States to claim citizenship for the child. Yet, in his usual transactional fashion, the US president claimed he wants to enable companies to hire and retain high-skilled talent in the country through his Trump Gold Card, or what he calls the $1 million gift to the government.
some tremendous people that wouldn't be allowed to stay. You know, they graduate from college, they have to go back to India, they have to go back to China, they have to go back to France, they have to go back to wherever they came from. Very hard to stay. It's a shame. It's ridiculous things. We're taking care of that. The companies are going to be very happy.
The Trump administration is redefining who belongs in America and who does not. As these policies take hold, millions are asking, is the land of opportunity closing its doors or simply deciding who gets in?
From visas to citizenship, from skilled workers to mass deportations, the rules are changing faster than the world can actually keep up. Families are separated, dreams are being put on hold. Millions across the globe and in India are left wondering if the US still stands for opportunity or fairness. Or is it a case that Donald Trump wants to push and its administration wants to push only the much touted and highly paid for gold card as compared to some of the other opportunities that several other visa mechanisms throw up? Is America protecting its borders, or is it turning its back on the very ideals it championed to the world, is what many are asking. India's defense industry is now beginning to punch way above its weight on the global stage. Moving from a long-time importer to an emerging manufacturer of advanced weaponry and military systems, this shift is gaining international attention as 3 Indian defense firms have risen into the SIPRI list of the world's top 100 arms makers, a sign that Make in India is starting to translate into real industrial clout. Although Indian companies still account for a relatively modest 1.1% share of global arms revenue, the steady increase in arms sales highlights the country's accelerating capabilities. And let's take a look at what this really adds up to. Global arms race is heating up. India is climbing up as China slips in that pecking order. India's top 3 defense firms grow at 8.2% to about $7.5 billion. And that includes Hindustan Aeronautics, which leads the list amongst Indian companies. And there's been a 24% boost in Bharat Electronics' growth to about a little under $2.5 billion. And this is on account of domestic demand, specifically for radars and several other equipment. Then let's take a look at Mazagon Dock, which focuses on naval capabilities. A 9.5%, actually almost 10% growth to $1.2 billion. Chinese defense firms have slipped amidst the massive purge that is being taken place in the Chinese PLA led by Xi Jinping. And who's gaining? It's the Indian military companies. Now, India is the apple of big tech's eye, quite literally, viewers. And here's what all that has been announced in the last couple of weeks. In fact, just about 10 days. $15 billion of investment by Google for its largest Vizag data center. Microsoft, $17.5 billion of investment, its largest in Asia. Add to this Cognizant's sweeping plans to boost investment, Amazon's $30 billion investment by 2030. Then there are MOUs that Intel has signed with Tata for semiconductor manufacturing. Did someone say dead economy? Well, it's far from that. And what is the true potential that we are talking about? And where does this take the India tech landscape? Let's get in a voice to talk more on this. We have with us Mr. Shashi Shekhar Vempati, who's the co-founder of Deep Tech, to talk more about how this all adds up. Sir, there have been a slew of announcements. It almost seems like all roads lead to Bengaluru. They lead to India right now as far as tech is concerned.
Absolutely. I think it's a very interesting series of announcements that you just shared. And it also is happening in the context of a larger milieu here, right? Because India is set to host the AI Impact Summit, the global summit, early next year in February in Delhi. And all this action that you're seeing builds up to India playing host to the entire world, both in terms of governmental heads as well as the big tech leaders on where AI is headed in the next few years. So in that sense, a lot of these announcements are creating the background, the framework for how the action in AI will be shifting to India, as India being the largest digital consumer markets, and it is also an open democracy, unlike China, which has placed all sorts of restrictions and is pursuing its own path in terms of AI. I think Indian AI markets and the Indian consumer are of great interest to the big tech platforms,
So
which is why
which brings me to ask, sir, there are two facets. One, of course, is the public AI, the larger utilization and usage of AI from a public service delivery point of view. And then there are these private tech aspirations that exist, which is why all these companies have come here. Now, help us understand, how do you see this tech landscape in India from a job point of view, from becoming a major player in the larger tech supply chain point of view? Any thoughts there?
Yeah, sure. So if you look at what's been happening in India, right, we've seen the emergence of the gig economy in a big way. The gig economy has emerged as a big employer, be it ride sharing, be it quick commerce, and so on. So the algorithm economy is going to become more and more important. And with AI, automating a lot of functions, I think it's extremely important that we in India get ahead of the impact of AI. So having these investments, having these big data centers, and these foundation models being built in India is very important. It's also important that we need to look at what are the enterprise use cases that will drive adoption going forward, which will bring efficiency, which will improve productivity, which will perhaps create a whole new class of jobs. While some existing jobs may become redundant, what AI is potentially likely to do is create a whole new class of jobs, and I think that is what we need to be prepared for. So between public service delivery, which is what you were mentioning, the digital public goods. If you look at the Prime Minister, he himself has been championing Bhashini, for example, which is about making content
local languages,
in Indian languages, right, using AI. So that's a great example of public services. Similarly, on the private sector, with all of these gig-based platforms emerging, homegrown platforms, I think it becomes very important for us to look at what are the new class of jobs that we can potentially create using AI.
All right, that's an extremely important aspect you said, and it also brings to forth the fact that job creation and AI can go together, something that has been a big concern around the world, more so of course in India as well, where we do need to create massive jobs because we have the largest young population anywhere in the world. I'm going to leave it there. Mr. Shashi Shekhar Vempati joining us to give his take on how things add up as far as India's tech landscape is concerned. Bangladesh announced its much-delayed national elections, even as the nation's president said his voice has been stifled and he plans to leave midway through his tenure. Bangladesh's president, who was the only constitutional authority left in the country after the elected government was overthrown, says his portraits have been removed from all government offices. The humiliation of the president is symptomatic of what the nation has undergone ever since the so-called student revolution overthrew Hasina's government last year in August, and the interim advisor came in. Since then, there have been many efforts to completely scrub Bangladesh's history. By the way, the sitting president of Bangladesh now has seen his press department being taken away from him. It's a clear effort to censor and stifle the president, Shahabuddin, who is the only sitting president to face this kind of insult. All right, viewers, as we wrap things up, well, the classic India Ascent story. UNESCO has added Deepavali to its intangible cultural heritage list, giving one of India's most celebrated festivals a major global honor. The announcement, which was made on UNESCO's social media, recognizes Deepavali as living heritage. Prime Minister Modi welcomed the move, saying people in India and across the world are thrilled, calling the festival a reflection of India's cultural values and civilizational ethos. With that, we wrap things up on this edition of India Ascents. Thanks so much for watching.
I don't sugarcoat. I shoot straight and tell you stories the way they need to be told. Unfiltered, unafraid, unmissable. That's how I roll. Watch me, Priyanka Deo, on NDTV World. Namaste.
Other opposition parties.
They argue, I conclude. They deflect. I drill down. This isn't a free-for-all. It's a reckoning. No filler, no fog. Only the facts and where they lead. Every night at 9, the case closes because the buck stops here.
They ruled the world. Won 1 billion hearts. Now, meet the champions who made the nation proud. The Indian
AM. Now, there are no slogans that have been permitted and only mantras that are allowed to be chanted. Important to understand that the entire proceedings are to be videographed. Crucial information we're tracking at this hour in the Deepam Rao as the hunger strike is to begin shortly. Well, on this, we have my colleague Vijay joining us on the broadcast. Vijay, walk us through the details. We're understanding that a hunger strike is expected to begin shortly.
In support of Madurai bench of Madras High Court, which allows temple administration to light the Kartigai Deepam in top of Tirupparangundram hill. A group of local residents of Tirupparangundram to do fasting hunger strike from 9 a.m. to this evening 5 p.m. Now the arrangements are going on. Now they are doing puja before starting their hunger strike. So all the group of residents are here. They are doing puja to start their hunger strike. Very shortly, they will start the hunger strike. Within 2 to 3 minutes, they will start the hunger strike from here. You see, all the they are following some traditional and custom before starting the hunger strike. They are going to light the Deepam also here. They are making those arrangements to start the hunger strike very shortly. And whereas Madurai bench of Madras High Court, before granting permission, they also gave certain conditions for this hunger strike. They had mentioned that only 50 members allowed in hunger strike should start from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. No slogans are permitted, only mantras are permitted during the hunger strike. High Court mentioned that entire proceeding shall be videographed and no provocative slogans against any group or any person. So these are all the conditions. Mentioned by the Madurai bench of Madras High Court. So all the controversy, before there was a huge controversy over Kartigai Deepam row, whereas Madurai bench of Madras High Court single bench gave order allowing the temple administration to light the Kartigai Deepam on top of the hill, and later the temple administration, which failed to do, there was a contempt of proceeding filed by the petitioner, and again also they gave a single bench order to light the Kartigai Deepam. He allowed petitioner himself to light the Kartigai Deepam along with CISF. So these are all the developments we are able to witness from the Tirupparangundram. We are also just outside the Tirupparangundram temple.
Right, absolutely. Which I also wish to understand from you, because you mentioned that the hunger strike is to begin shortly. There seems to be a legal tussle also that's ongoing right on, of course, the Deepam Rao. Walk us through that. What exactly has happened with context of that?
That's right, Reed. Yesterday the division bench of Madurai bench of Madras High Court heard the appeal petition filed by the state government against the December 1 single judge order, which allows lighting of Kartigai Deepam in top of the hill. Yesterday there was a argument which was put forward by the state government and the senior council of HRNC commissioner and Tirupparangundram temple executive officer. The main argument which was put forward by the state government is they question what is the proof filed by the petitioner before the single bench, the existence of Kartigai, the Deepathun, which he claimed the temple, a stone-like structure which is called as a Deepathun. So what proof does they implement? The petitioner himself filed before there are no proof to substantiate his stand which is called as a Deepathun. And even HRNC administration, the senior council mentioned, they have a 150 years of record in which it has only details as such. The lighting of Deepam was for 150 years. It has been following to light the Deepam in mid of the Deepam. So these are all the arguments put forward by the state government, and the court also adjourned the hearing to Monday.
Absolutely. In fact, thank you so much for joining us and sharing those details with us. We're tracking more on the story at this hour, while the Madras High Court has pressed the Tamil Nadu government for answers on the ongoing Kartigai Deepam controversy. While the bench has once again questioned the state's failure to implement its own orders, allowing the traditional Deepam lamp to be lit at the disputed Deepathun site atop, in fact, the Tirupparangundram hill. Important to understand that the court asked why successive directives to permit the ritual have not been followed even after hearings and legal challenges. Now, it summoned senior officials to explain the repeated non-compliance and noted a worrying pattern, of in fact defying court orders. Important information we're tracking at this hour, as the Tamil Nadu government maintains that the issue is under legal review and has approached the Supreme Court against the High Court's single judge ruling. Meanwhile, the dispute has triggered protests as well as political backlash and contestation from various groups as the matter continues to unfold.
Madurai bench of Madras High Court came down strongly on the Tamil Nadu government, accusing officials of deliberately ignoring its order on lighting the Kartigai Deepam lamp at the Madurai Tirupparangundram temple. Sir, there are lathis for the devotees. Hindus are lathi charged. Despite the court order, they are not allowed. Despite the court order, they are not allowed to light the lamp, sir.
I've always said that the BJP and its allied outfits don't understand Tamil Nadu very well. Tamil Nadu is perhaps one of the most Hindu of all states in India. The people of Tamil Nadu are the most God-fearing, ritualistic, orthodox, temple-going people in India. The faith does not mix with the politics of the BJP. The Hindu faith will be practiced in a way in which we are familiar with in Tamil Nadu. What the allied organizations of the BJP are trying to do is to create controversies when there are no controversies.
Well, Lionel Messi has touched down in Kolkata in the early hours, kicking off his three-city GOAT India tour. Well, security is tight and a packed itinerary awaits clinics, events and a Salt Lake appearance tonight. Thousands of fans turned out at the airport along with city streets despite the pre-dawn hour, roaring and chanting and celebrating as Kolkata welcomed Messi in scenes of near pandemonium. Important to understand that a 70-foot statue of Messi, reportedly the world's largest, is set to be unveiled in the lake town later this morning, a giant tribute to the star with crowds and viral video clips already circulating. While Bollywood superstar Shah Rukh Khan landed in Kolkata to appear at the Salt Lake events tonight as Messi's high-profile welcome. While the Salt Lake Stadium is primed for today's celebrations, media and fans surrounding outside. Meanwhile, Revans Reddy was seen practicing on the field ahead of the planned friendly game with Messi later in the day. Important to understand that Bollywood superstar Shah Rukh Khan landed in Kolkata to appear at the Salt Lake events tonight as a part of Messi's high-profile welcome. While football fever reaches a whole new high in India, Kolkata welcomes legendary footballer Lionel Messi. The Salt Lake Stadium is expected to roar at a full strength with more than 75,000 seats open. Now, the city's cultural universe will add its own stardust with Shah Rukh Khan joining the celebrations. Meanwhile, Messi is also expected to meet Sourav Ganguly and West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee before hopping on a flight to Hyderabad to continue the frenzy. Now, there is also a 70-foot statue of Messi in the city to welcome him. From mega events at the Salt Lake Stadium to football extravaganzas in Hyderabad and Mumbai, and finally, a high-profile meeting with the Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Delhi, followed by a special session at Arun Jaitley Stadium. Here's a look at the highlights of Messi's India tour. Well, visuals, of course, present on your screens at the moment. Remember that this is Messi's high-profile visit to India. Remember that this is a three-city tour that is being undertaken by the football star. He is, of course, visuals present on your screens at the moment. Remember that people, of course, gathered at the Kolkata airport to welcome the football star as he, of course, embarks on a three-city tour, which is also known as the GOAT Tour. Remember that he will be meeting several celebrities while he is in India, like Shah Rukh Khan. He will also be meeting Sourav Ganguly and the West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. Well, interestingly, when he will be in Delhi, he is also going to be meeting the Prime Minister, after which there will be a special session at the Arun Jaitley Stadium in New Delhi. Important to understand that what's actually a very interesting aspect of his visit is also the statue of Messi that will be unveiled. Remember that the Salt Lake Stadium will be brimmed with people. Of course, it will be full of people with as many as 75,000 seats open. Meanwhile, my colleague Ritik in fact brings more on this. Take a look.
Kolkata is under Messi mania. The Argentinian superstar is currently touring India and during his second visit in Kolkata. The city of joy is totally engulfed under Messi mania. Is currently at a hotel just nearby this particular iconic Salt Lake Stadium, and the city of joy will have its glimpses at Salt Lake Stadium this morning. You can see the security has been beefed up and fans of footballs have started arriving. Let me tell you that the football is a it's a religious event for Kolkata. We see many kids are. कहाँ से आए हो भाई?
रिश्ता.
तो मेसी को देखना है.
हाँ.
तो सुबह सुबह आ गए आप सब.
हाँ.
और मेसी के लिए एक्साइटेड हो?
बहुत.
आप कहाँ से आए हुए हो?
रिश्ता.
So these are आप सभी फुटबॉल खेलते हैं?
हाँ.
So yes, that's the color, that's the festivity over here as per the football is concerned. You can see that people have already gathered over here, and there are multiple events have been lined up. And today, that Shah Rukh Khan will be at this Salt Lake Stadium. Security has been beefed up. Even last night, when during Messi's arrival at Kolkata airport, fans of football also had buzzed over there and waved the entire airport to welcome Messi. With camera person Anuruddh Tripathi, this is Viktik for NDTV.
Meanwhile, there seems to be a massive fan frenzy at the Kolkata airport. Let's also listen in to what the fans had to say.
दुआ सास से मेसी को लव करते हैं, भालोबासी माने प्यार करते हैं, मोहब्बत है.
And I have bought a ticket of Messi just to see him with my eyes.
जब से मैंने फुटबॉल देखा है एक ही चीज है, मुझे पता नहीं ये ऊपर वाले का रहम है या क्या है. जब मैंने देखना स्टार्ट किया तो एक ही प्लेयर था जिससे मैं बहुत अट्रैक्ट हुआ और वो है लायनल एंड्रेल मेसी.
बहुत अच्छा लगा, बचपन का एक सपना पूरा हुआ है बस. That's all. हाँ? आप कितना दूर से देखा? मैं अराउंड 30-40 मीटर्स.
खुशी के कारण भी मेसी है, मेरे रोने के कारण भी मेसी है. ये जो हुडी पहन गया ना, इसमें भी मेसी लिखा है. मैं ऐसा मेसी का फैन हूँ. ये भी उतारने को मन कर रहा है क्योंकि इतना गर्मी बढ़ गया है ना. बोला ना, गर्मी इतना बढ़ गया है कि सिर्फ चारों ओर मेसी और मेसी. हमें पता नहीं है कि मेसी को देख सके क्योंकि वो गाड़ी में आ रहा है ना, पैदल तो नहीं जाएगा. लेकिन हमारे 1% जो उम्मीद है ना, वो उम्मीद ही काफी है.
बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है क्योंकि भगवान अपना राज्य में वापस कर रहा है. बहुत ही खुश लग रहा है क्योंकि इसके पहले 2011 में आया था तब उनका बुक में 2 स्टार था, अभी 3 स्टार हो गया. वर्ल्ड कप विनिंग कैप्टन हो गया. इससे बड़ा कुछ नहीं है एक मेसी फैन, एक अर्जेंटीना फैन की तरफ से.
Well, of course, you heard the excited fans talk about Messi's visit to India. Remember that those are visuals of Messi landing in India. Important to understand that, of course, even though if one does not follow football, Messi is a name that resonates with people alike and across. It's important to understand that, of course, he is here as a part of his 3-city tour, like I mentioned earlier as well. Remember that he will also be present at the Salt Lake Stadium, and that's expected to roar at a full strength of more than 75,000 seats. Remember that Kolkata has welcomed the superstar in the morning. He arrived early this morning. And the city's cultural universe will, of course, add its own stardust with Shah Rukh Khan in present. Remember that Shah Rukh Khan is also present in Kolkata to, in fact, interact with Messi in a special program. Now, Messi is also expected to meet cricketing legend Sourav Ganguly. He's also expected to meet West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. Now, of course, after this, he will be, in fact, hopping on a flight to Hyderabad to continue the frenzy, where, of course, it's also important to understand that during his visit, there's also going to be a 70-foot statue of Messi in the city, which will, of course, welcome him. So, from mega events at the Salt Lake Stadium to football extravaganzas in Hyderabad, Mumbai, and even Kolkata, there will be a high-profile visit as well of Messi with the Prime Minister of the country, Narendra Modi, in Delhi, which will be followed by a special session at the Arun Jaitley Stadium. Remember that, of course, we heard fans talking about how their love for Messi has, in fact, even got them to get up early in the morning and reach the airport to catch a glimpse of their favourite football icon. In fact, the football fever seems to have gripped the country, with Messi visiting as many as 3 cities as part of his GOAT tour. Also important to understand that, in fact, the Salt Lake Stadium is primed for today's celebrations. There seems to be media and fans massing around. Meanwhile, apart from, of course, Mamata Banerjee, another political leader who's likely to, of course, meet Messi is Revanth Reddy. Remember that Revanth Reddy will also be interacting in a friendly game with Messi, so he was seen practicing ahead of that as well. What's also important to understand, of course, visuals of the statue there on your screens at the moment. Remember that the statue will be unveiled. It is a 70-foot long statue. Apart from this, of course, there will be the Salt Lake Stadium, in which there will be fans present. As many as 75,000 seats are present in the Salt Lake Stadium. So we're going to expect, of course, a sea of fans that will gather there. Of course, visuals of Messi, he is seen, of course, getting off his flight. Remember that thousands of fans are expected in later events also, but there were many, in fact, who turned up at the airport along, of course, the streets, despite it being a pre-dawn hour. They were roaring, chanting and celebrating, as, of course, West Bengal and especially Kolkata welcomed Messi in the scenes. Of course, the security has been tightened. Remember, it's important to understand that Messi is a name that resonates with everybody across the spectrum, whether you're a sports fan or not. Of course, Lionel Messi is a name that you must be knowing. The security seems to have been heightened in the area. There is a power-packed itinerary that awaits him, with, of course, clinics, events and a Salt Lake appearance tonight. Remember, like I mentioned, this Salt Lake appearance is extremely important. And, we're also expecting thousands of fans to show up because, of course, the seating of the stadium is expected to, house as many as 75,000 fans. Again, the highlight of his visit has to be a 70-foot statue of Messi, reportedly the world's largest. Now, it is this statue which is expected to be unveiled in the Lake Town later this morning. There's, of course, seems to be a giant tribute to the star with, of course, crowds, and there are also viral videos circulating, making rounds on the social media of fans, in fact, welcoming him at the Kolkata airport. Remember, of course, what is also going to add flavor and spice to his visit is the fact that Bollywood superstar Shah Rukh Khan has also landed in Kolkata to interact with Messi. He is expected to appear later at the Salt Lake events tonight. Remember that this is a part of Messi's high-profile welcome. So, of course, we're seeing leaders from the political spectrum like Revanth Reddy, Mamata Banerjee, even the Prime Minister himself, Narendra Modi. And apart from this, we're also going to see icons from other fields as well. From, of course, the sporting field, we have Saurav Ganguly, who will be interacting with Messi later today. We're also going to be having other people like Shah Rukh Khan, who are going to interact with Messi today. Well, on this, we have my colleague Shreyasi joining us on the phone line. Now, Shreyasi, walk us through. My apologies. We have my colleague Ritik joining us on the phone line. Ritik, walk us through the details. We're understanding that, Messi does have a power-packed visit today. Earlier at the airport also, we saw fans greet him with so much of enthusiasm. How exactly is the city prepping to, celebrate the star who's, of course, arrived in the country?
Well, exactly. Let me tell you that, the Kolkata is under this many category today. Once again, Kolkata will have the opportunity to get rid of this Argentinian, football superstar, Lionel Messi, who has landed at the city of Troy last night. Remember, even we did see a huge crowd at the Kolkata airport when Messi landed. And today at around 11 a.m., Messi will be arriving at Kolkata's iconic, Salt Lake Stadium, and we can see that train has already begun. When it comes to football and city of Kolkata, people get crazy because there are parts of Kolkata's heart. One is Brazil and Argentina. That surface during World Cup matches, people get crazy, and which is why even we did see last time when 11 years back when Messi arrived here in Kolkata for the first time scoring India, it was a huge threat, and similar kind of euphoria we can see that budding football stars and football fanatics started arriving over here. Some of them have arrived other parts of the city, other parts of the country as well, and many of them they were from Nepal or other parts of the country to get the glimpse. This is the biggest opportunity for people over here in this silly December winter, to get a very good glimpse of Messi. There are several programs lined up as of Messi's brief sleep in Kolkata is concerned. We're given to understand he will be associated with several, close or even the hotel where he's staying. Then he will head to this Salt Lake Stadium. Then after spending a couple of hours, he will head to Kolkata airport. But before that, a very gigantic statue is going to be unveiled by Lionel Messi, which is situated in the Vidhannagar area. So these are the crews we believe that the Kolkata is completely under Messi fever, and immediate security. This mega event is going to take place, and we did see immediate additional security arrangements over this entire event.
Right, absolutely, Ritik. You rightly mentioned that, of course, Kolkata is definitely under Messi fever. We saw the visuals from the airport, fans talking about how excited they were to catch a glimpse of the football star. Also walk us through the details. What is the event tonight about, and who all will be expecting to see there? Ritik, I was asking that, of course, we have an event, a power-packed event tonight in Kolkata. Of course, he's coming back after 2011 to play in the same very studio he played in, stadium, my apologies, he played in the year 2011. Walk us through the details. Who all are we expecting to be present there?
There is two parts of Kolkata's heart. One is Brazil and another is Argentina. It's shifted to Mohan Bagan and East Bengal as well, because when it comes to football, people get crazy, and this kind of thing, this kind of madness, I would call it the madness over football. It's it's more deadlier during World Cup matches because we have people who are supporter of Argentina. They colored their homes, houses, or white rooms with